Do you know harassment at work is not illegal?
It's not legal or it's not illegal?
It's not illegal.
So it's illegal
Kinda is.
for somebody to harass you at work?
Yeah.
In what way, for example?
Tutaacha link hapo chini.
Tutaacha link hapo. Haina noma,
Because
man.
there's a study that someone was saying bullying is illegal,
Yeah.
but harassment
Yeah.
is not illegal.
Okay.
Ben, Cyco, Ben.
Hi guys. Yes, this is what you are thinking this is. This is the Cyco podcast and this is episode 6, season 3. My goodness, this is such a good, it's been such a great journey and I'm really loving this space. And thank you so much for always watching this. Thank you so much for always subscribing, commenting, sharing with your friends. This is the place where it happens, man. So if you are a first-time viewer, or if you've been watching all these videos without subscribing, please make sure you subscribe. We might or we might not be working on a bonus for the end of year to our random subscribers. But that's neither here or there. Just call me the government so you don't have to believe me anyway. Anyway, I'm so happy and so grateful for you guys just coming through. Today, we're going to have an awesome podcast episode. Karibuni sana to everyone who's listening to us on the streaming platforms. That's Spotify, Google Cast, Pocket Cast, iTunes, Apple Podcast, all those platforms. Karibuni sana. It's been like 3 weeks. There was this period where I was very consistent. Like I was just winning on top of winning, and then bang, my enemies, they sent me tonsillitis. I don't even know how that was dispatched. It was like the way COVID was dispatched, and I had tonsils for a week, and that's when I knew. Men are not just supposed to be sick. Like men, we become so weak when we are sick. Like, my girlfriend can have like headaches. My girlfriend can even go to work when she has like tonsillitis. Me had tonsillitis. I didn't even get out of bed. The whole day I was just shaking and all that stuff. Like nilikuwa nishaanza kupigia maambulance nini, nishaeka wheel proper. Unajua nimeshasema hizi doza skiza zitaendea mori wangu fulani wa mtaani. Yani I had planned this whole thing. But thank God now I'm well. Now, the problem with me is that if I stay consistent for a while and then I stop doing something, it now takes so much energy to get back on track. But now we are finally back. And this has also been my birthday month. Hallelujah. Can I see some M-Pesa? Can I see some Shangwe and Viligele being put up with by Steve? This has been my birthday month and I'm so excited. Almost completing my 20s. I keep saying the 20s are the ghetto. Like 20s are the serious ghetto. But life gets better, ukumbele, and I can't wait for what lies ahead, man. So, I need to check out some of the comments that I got from last time. Some guys were saying nice things, and the other guys were also saying very nice things. So all of them were just okay. I'll start with the last episode, by the way, we did was with Coco Van Veen. Coco has a very hard name. And we were talking about how to be a content creator full-time. And this, I can easily say this is one of the most impactful videos that we've done in the previous past. Because wasolikuwa wanatumia picha wakiwa na notebooks. Guys were writing down what we were saying. And thank you so much, Coco, for coming through. If you have not watched that episode, go to my previous video. You'll catch it there. And so some of the feedback that I got from the last video, Varinia Wandera was saying, Ben is just the best. Why would you even argue with that? Ben is just the best. This one should be given a TV show, I swear. Thank you so much. And Sierra Lucy was saying, so insightful. I feel like this conversation is relevant to every career, not only content creation. Thank you, Ben, for this. Thank you so much, Lucy. And then we had Sharon Cheboy saying that I have zero prospect of content creation, but this is still very informative video. Thank you very much. I had my friend Israel saying that mastering of sound required. Thank you so much, Israel. We'll put that into consideration and master this sound better. Thank you so much. Karidongo is saying, Ben, you've impacted my life in so many ways. God bless you too, my brother. And the answers to last time's riddle, if you guys can remember, it was, do you remember the riddle? Riddle was I have trees, I have rivers, I have hills, but I do not own any piece of land. And that, my friend, is none other than a map. That's the answer to that riddle for last time. So I think the guy who won it is called, I think it was Njogu. Let me just check that comment. I Johnny Limon Apa, and I can't remember. I can't forget that. Yes, it's Njogu. The first riddle, the answer is a map, and you are right, my brother. So I think I've said all that I needed to say for the intro. Yes, I have forgotten. The Cyco podcast has now opened up to advertising. So if you want to advertise, if you want us to make a whole video about your product, or if you want us to put those bumper ads on the video, just you can reach out to us via the email provided below, which is bencyco@gmail.com, and then we'll activate your product. And our people love good products. Is how watu wangu. So let me move to the topic of the day. The discussion that I'm going to be having today is about toxic workspaces. And, as you can see, I actually introduced some tea. Ndio hata huo guest aone, enyewe hiyo place yake si toxic. Hiyo place yake ni poa. Watu wanakula, anatreat team yake poa. But I feel like a lot of us might be in toxic workspaces, but we don't know that we are in a toxic workspace. A lot of us have been affected by toxic workspaces. But we don't know that we've been affected by toxic workspaces. So this is a thing that we need to address in these times that we are living. So I approached a very cool person that I follow on Twitter. She's always advocating for healthy working spaces. And then the one thing that I like about her is that she would always explain to you what's going on with you and why you're going through what you're going through as a result of your toxic workspaces. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Shiko. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. Yourself?
I'm very fine. Thank you so much for coming to this show. As you can see, this is not a toxic workplace at all. As you can see, you've seen my team is smiling. They're laughing. It's like a joy lost in conference. Like everyone is happy. So, karibu sana kwa show. Maybe you can tell guys maybe your handle first of all, because I know there's an audience that knows you there's a good number of people who know you from Twitter. And then you can also tell guys who you are and what you do, man.
Wow, thanks. Also,
Karibu.
That's one of the best, nicest things anyone has said to me in a long time. Thank you.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Nice. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
The only reason I knew about you was because I followed you on Twitter. And I liked the conversations that you bring out and that you make people have. So just a brief introduction, just tell guys who you are, what you do, and then we pick it up from there. This topic is amazing.
All right. My name is Shi.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer people to call me.
Yeah.
Government names. Catherine Wanjiko Kangeve.
Where? Utuduma number bana.
Where? Yeah. So I am a journalist by profession.
Yeah.
But now I think full-time, I advocate for well-being of workers.
Yeah.
And I address issues in toxic workspaces and provide solutions.
Yeah.
Like unplug.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
So what's unplug?
So unplug is disconnecting from the world, mostly from tech.
Yeah.
So unplug happens because now I advocate for workers.
Yeah.
The always on culture.
Yeah.
So I say every Friday, just unplug.
Yeah.
Go offline.
Yeah.
Resume on Monday.
Yeah.
Then take care of your well-being over the weekend.
Yeah.
Self-care, recharge your batteries,
Yeah.
reset,
Yeah.
refocus, especially if you're in a toxic workspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this story for hustle 24/7 culture, work hard, no time for sleep. I woke up earlier than you. I'll sleep later than you. I'm probably working. I'm on my 4th meeting. I don't have time for my friends because I'm working. Are you saying, in summary, are you saying that that's a toxic work culture?
Well, I think what I'm saying is to be safe.
Yeah.
I think we've normalized hustle
Yeah.
to a point that the rise of the hustle culture has become the norm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
So if you say that you work, I think I see people floss about, I work for 16 hours a day. I'm like, hey, no. I actually want to rest more than I work.
Yeah. That's true. And I think I've also picked up that bad culture. Well, rather, the past few months I've been trying to shed it off. But that culture, I think I picked it up from school, where we were always, you must read. we were always reminded that guys in starehe are reading. So maybe wase starch wanna watch ball, ama maybe wanna watch rugby. Sisi tunaambiwa huko, kwanza there was a Pastor Kioko. It's called Pastor Kioko. Guys who are in school in Nairobi and its environments, wase wa Kapsabet, wase wa Turkana misasi wasaidia. Sijui mlikuwa mnatendiwa na kina nani. But Pastor Kioko would always come and tell us, no, I'm from Ampaio, I'm from Alliance are not, they have wamemaliza syllabus ya biology, that's how wameingia form because he was KO. And you know, that culture, we picked up that culture from school, that you're always supposed to be reading, and if you're not reading, you're running, you know, like the way they would tell us, oh, this is like nika uko athletic boot camp or something, like, you know, everyone is supposed to, you know, na sasa umebaita fees uko like mazisi mwingine mapema ni by mapumas unajua. So that culture, even when I was in campus, like you always feel like you feel like you need to always be working, you know, such that even when you're resting, you feel like you're doing something very wrong. So that's a bad habit that I feel like it's capitalism. It's like the whole system thing. Yeah. So I feel like that's a culture that we've formed, and people have taken pride in that culture. But I feel like eventually, it affects your life, and it affects your mental health in a very, very big way. And you know, you might not know it, you might know it. So what you're gonna be doing in this video, we first of all want to do like a test. How do you test? How do you know that the place you work in is actually a toxic work environment? Because maybe kuna wasi washazoea such that it doesn't even, they're numb to that. How do you know? Are there few steps or few tests that you can undertake yourself for you to know that you are in a healthy workplace or in a toxic workplace, for example?
Interesting question. I think the first thing I can say is just like what I told you before when we were having a chat earlier on, is when every day is a bad day for you, sometimes you need to sit and think, why is every day a bad day for you? Not just Monday blues. Like, do you have Sunday blues?
What are Sunday blues? Like where you feel going to church?
You're anxious about Monday.
Oh, yeah.
They're called Sunday scaries, actually. Yeah.
You know, a few months ago, Wanjiru mentioned that. And she told me that akona kitu inaitwa Sunday scaries. Niko like, mababi wanakuwa na mashida zingine funny. Shida zangu tu za kukosa pesa. Hizo zingine Sunday scaries, what are those? When you have money, you're okay. And then I thought she was pushing. And then I asked it on Instagram stories, and I asked guys, do you guys have Sunday scaries? Wase walijibu hivi. I think nearly get over 100 comments. Guys saying that they really dread Sundays because they know Monday is just, you know, like a few hours. Like, hey, Monday's just there. Hey, you, excuse, where, you know, like, you know, they're calling. And so it's a thing. It's a thing. So you're saying if somebody already has Sunday scaries, their workspace is probably not...
Probably, yes. Like, let me just, like, explain more about Sunday scaries. How it starts. So your Sunday has started off well. Yeah. It's a lazy day.
Yeah. Praise and worship in the morning.
Exactly. Yeah. Then uko 3 kifika, you're like, hey, I need to go home and chill. I need to rest and prepare for Monday. Yeah. So mostly we call it, let me prepare for Monday. Yeah. So that preparing, I really wanted to understand, what do you prepare for exactly? Of course, it's not your clothes. It's your mental. You want to be ready because your boss probably shouts at you. Every time you go to work, you feel like, you feel like you have to put on a certain mask at work. So Sunday scaries, like you feel like you want to prepare enough. Yeah. That's why you sleep early. Not because you really like to rest. Yeah. But it's Sunday scaries, but we really don't. Not many people have put a name to it.
Yeah, but it's called Sunday scaries. Yeah. So hizo mashida zenye hiyo tension unapatanga on Sunday. Don't call it a demon. Don't call it a demon, my Christian brethren. It's called Sunday scaries. There's probably something that your mind is trying to avoid, or your mind is preparing itself to face this battle that you normally go to on Monday. So that's one way. If you're having, if you dread Mondays, for example. Another one could be, if you find yourself, you're never happy at your workplace.
Let me ask.
Yeah, please.
Do you love your job? Do you really love your job? 2 questions.
That's a good question, because for me as a creative, I really love this. But I realized it was becoming toxic because kitambo, or when I was starting, there was so much pressure doing this. So like I'd always want to do a podcast for the sake of just to finish, to tick it off, Okay. And I got to a point where I'm like, we can't have always dreamt of having a platform only for us to live with so much pressure and anxiety with it. I need to enjoy. I need to feel good whenever I'm just speaking on this mic. I need to be happy. That's when I realized that I was being I was putting myself in a toxic environment. Because you see, toxic workspaces are not just for people who are employed. There's also toxic workspaces for creatives. And let me explain an example. Dana Seda, actually, Dana, for those who know Dana Seda's the troublemaker, the chaos, Dana Seda is always saying the things that people don't want to hear. But I like him. Big shout out to Dana Seda. Dana Seda posted and he said that there's another pandemic that's eating creatives that's known as 1 million views. And yeah, when you're in music, for example, when God blesses you with like a hit, the challenge you have, people see you all over and they think you're happy, but you're actually under so much pressure because you need to deliver another one.
Okay.
And so you become a slave of the numbers. It's no longer about whatever you create. It's about how many people are going to watch this or how many people are going to listen to this song. And I've been there so many times. And that definitely, I can almost tell you where that road goes. That road leads to anxiety and depression. You will always be constantly. Hence why most people who have big platforms, why most of them are like they drink a lot. It's not necessarily their fault. There's a huge burden that they've placed on themselves. And most creatives don't realize this. They just think that, hey, mazee ni hustle, mi niko job, But even as a creative, you need to get to a place where you're really enjoying whatever you're creating. And that's what actually Bien said on the CTA. He said that he's gotten to a point where he just wants to create what makes him happy. Because also as a creative, you need to be that careful. So I think that can also be another test to test if you're in a toxic workspace. Because you can also be in a toxic workspace as a sole proprietor. Like it's your own workplace, but it's already toxic,
Right.
Toxicity does not necessarily have to come from, let's say, your boss. But then you can correct me, because me, I'm like DIY toxic toxic workplace activist. But this is just from my observation. So maybe from also a professional or from a more well thought through analysis can be another test how to see that, by the way, I'm also not necessarily. Or also, if the place you work at brings out some elements, or another side of you that you didn't even know existed, like all of a sudden you become this shrewd person. Maybe you get to work and you just treat people badly and all that stuff because maybe you are their supervisor, but then you're also getting the pressure from your bosses and all. So that can be another way that you can test if your workspace is toxic.
I'm wondering which to start. I don't know, where do I start?
Start anywhere.
I want to address two things. Two things. One, the 1 million, what did you call it?
The 1 million view pandemic.
Yes. So in my world, I call it the psychology of a like. Yeah, I don't know how I came across it.
Yeah.
And then I went to study more about it. And I discovered I really was shocked to know that it affects every one of us.
Yeah.
That's why when you post something, somehow you just keep looking at the notifications.
Keep coming after 2 hours to see if there are more likes.
Nita-delete.
Na saa mazeka upati likes unaanza kupigia makuzo.
Kwani mnadunisa? Kwani
mnadunini? So comment kama huo wamtiaji hivyo.
Just like alafu go on to work. Yeah. So I think the psychology of a like is probably what gives people a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's internal pressure.
Oh, yeah.
You give yourself that much pressure. Like, as you've said, you may deliver one good thing.
Yeah.
Then you realize, I need to do better.
Yeah.
No one has asked you to do it.
No one, yeah.
But you feel like if you put more and more effort, you'll get to bigger views and all.
Yeah.
So that's how you can be toxic to yourself.
Let me just ask you a question.
Yes.
There. So where do you draw the line for you actually need to improve yourself as a person and grow, and now this is becoming just outrightly toxic?
Well, I think you first need to be very self-aware to know who are you doing this for.
Yeah.
I like what you said that you now doing the podcast because it makes you happy.
Yeah.
So if you do something that makes you happy, it means you love yourself first.
Yeah.
And you get to know when you're like, if you don't set limits, even your body will come screaming and your mind will just shut and you will That's why we have creative blocks.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we push ourselves too hard to a point that we don't have time to recharge.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Then the second thing
Yeah.
is about walking on eggshells at work. As
Oh.
let me refer to it as that.
Yeah.
So when you walk on eggshells at work is when you feel like you're not good enough. You change, as you've said, you become a different person. So a toxic workspace can bring out a different person in you. How? It can trigger, I know most people are not, I don't know why this is a very interesting, not even interesting. People don't like talking about trauma. And I don't know why. Either they're afraid of it or it's a foreign concept.
Oh, I actually think it's because it's a foreign concept. People never really understand what trauma is. Maybe you can give people like a summary of what trauma is in a very short way. So
Well, I think trauma is just probably, I know they will come.
they'll
Come
come
at
for you.
me, yeah,
they'll
when
come
I
for
say
you.
it like that.
Yeah, she and the thing is that most people don't really even understand what trauma is. But how do you define trauma? Because what one other ningi, maybe it's like this thing that happens in the West. Yet you'll find like even a good percentage of our Kenyan population is actually traumatized. That's why politicians anaweza do kitu wanataka. Some of the things that we've gone through even as a nation, or some of the things that happen, our understanding is that zinakuanga very heavy psychological effects on us. So how do you define, first of all, trauma before we move on to the common recurring issues? Because I asked guys on Instagram to send me their experiences in toxic workspaces. The responses will shock you, especially number 5. Yeah. How do you define trauma?
Not how I define, but how
it's
experts,
defined. Yeah.
how experts
I can
define
give a
trauma.
low budget explanation, and then
please
you
do.
can
Sure.
correct it. I always feel like trauma is when something unusual happens in your life and it affects you in a big way. So your brain does not know how to process it. So what your brain does, it takes that whole experience, ni kama giza, then it puts it at the back of your mind. It never wants to hear from it. Like that thing has been so shocking, so your brain has put that whole scenario at the back of your mind. But then that thing starts to rot, and it starts to release some poisonous things. And that's how you see people who have been traumatized before. They have not even people, all of us, the trauma that we've experienced in our lives, it kind of manifests itself through some behaviors. And that's why when you go to a therapist, the main work of a therapist, people used to think that therapists were now kuambia Kenya unafikiria like, jacket ya blue, viatu are brown. like this is not a magic show, you know. So the work of therapists mostly is to help you identify traumatic patches in your brain. So kuambia, by the way, how was your childhood? So when they ask you certain questions, they lead up to, were you guys competitive? Were your folks harsh? Were you abused? You know, like when a child is abused at a young age, they don't know what that is. They've never experienced it. So they just take that, they put it at the back of their mind, and they don't want to ever talk about it. But then it kind of builds wall around them. So unapata, like maybe they hate this group of people or that group of people. It's because of that. So they have to go back and address that for them to know the way forward. That's like juakali marikiti ndani. Bei asubuhi definition of trauma. Like Mbogi Genje would be so proud of me right now. They're like, hey, no, subscribe twice. Yeah.
I like your definition of trauma, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not juakali. I think it's just what I don't use the word ordinary.
Yeah.
It's just a simplified way of how you understand trauma.
Yeah.
So I'll read what I love about
Oxford, right? Or Wikipedia.
Hey, but of course.
Nice one,
Combined.
Shock us, I beg.
So trauma is a response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event that overwhelms an individual's ability to cope, cause feelings of helplessness, diminishes their sense of self, and the ability to feel a full range of emotions and experiences. So that's semi-expert or scientific.
And what we don't understand is that toxic workspaces, they leave us with a lot of trauma. So what I did is that I asked guys on Instagram to share with me some of their experiences at toxic workspaces. And And these are some of the ones that I captured. I'm just going to be going through them because there were so many. I didn't even think that kumbe this is a huge problem in the country. So I'll start with the first one. I won't even mention their names. There was one who was saying yelling, assignments with no guidance in a new field. It made me redo the tasks after just a few days. Alafu kuna huyo alikuwa anasema from the first day ashaanza kuniuliza if the boss now the boss ashaanza kuniuliza if I have a boyfriend. The boss has already started asking if you have a boyfriend. There's one who was just so shocked. She was like, Jesus, where do I start, you know? And if I can remember very well, because I've had this experience before from somebody else. She said that when this lady got pregnant, then she went to the boss and like, hey Niaje, I don't think you come with Niaje. It's like, hey, hope this finds you well. Then she was told that maybe next time you use protection, you know? And that's what the lady was told. There's another one who's saying a boss that keeps on abusing and always finding stuff to accuse you of. That's another one. There was in internships, like typically there should be boundaries between the bosses and the interns. Another one is my she boss is always having issues with my body. This also came up a lot of times, you know, like you know, they make very weird comments. Being looked down upon on a daily basis. By the way, there's a thing about workspaces or employment that you can be so good at what you do, but you enter in a certain environment and you just feel like trash. Like you feel like your ideas are not going anywhere. No one really understands you. And you even start feeling like you're a bit stupid, and you can live with that for a long time if you do not address it. And we're going to come to how to deal with this. We're not just bringing this up and then tuache hapo hanging. This is the Cyco podcast, bruh. Lazima tukupatie medicine. Another one who's saying is like, okay, so I did a summary of all this, because Nimob, I did a summary, and these are the ones that came up. Body weight. A lot of ladies are complaining that people are commenting about their body weight. There's the work pressure, where there's so much pressure from the moment you get there in the morning to you know, people talk from 8 to 5, but there are so many people who work from 8 to like 10. There's progressive growth, but this progressive growth was not necessarily in a good way. It was in a competitive kind of way, where like if we're gonna see this month who's going to perform the best. So it's like a race, you know. And then guys start being toxic. Huyu anakanyaga huyu anakanyaga yule. You know, there's the backbiting, there's the politics, the office politics. Working hours, that was also another complaint. That's something that also came up a lot of times. Some people saying that they are working more than the regular stipulated time. Pregnancies, ladies were complaining, man. Oh, yani that's an issue. Nepotism, where they just bring in somebody kwa sababu ni anko ya bro yake, ama you know, some stuff like that. Yet anko ya bro yake knows nothing about your industry. Pay cuts. There is a lady who told me that in their workspaces, the ladies received half pay cuts, alafu the men wakachiwa nini. And then the argument was like, unajua wazee ndio wanna provide for their family. And then, you know, it's like I don't know, it's like madem wanna live nice, sijui likes or something, sijui wanadhani madem wish pia madem wananidio do, you know. Unhealthy competition, as I've said, the undercutting. There's trauma, and then the final one also that kept occurring a lot of times was bullying. Now, bullying it can be there in the workspaces. Maybe you can give me an example of bullying, especially in employment, and then we can look at it from also a creative side, and then the effects and all that. So these are the main issues that came up from the responses that I got from guys. There were over 100 responses. There were so many guys were telling, even my own friends were telling me things. I was like, guy, ulikuwa unapitia hizi vitu zote na vile tulimit town, ulikuwa happy, you know? They're like, what? Guys are going through it, man. Be kind. You don't know what people are going through. Yeah.
I don't know where to start. I think I'll just a random.
Yeah, do a random.
I'll just touch on what first thing imeniguza sana.
Yeah.
So one, when you talk about bullying at work.
Yes. First of all, what does that look like? Sorry.
What?
Sorry.
I don't even know. It's crazy. Bullying. Whew. And do you know harassment at work is not illegal?
It's not legal or it's not illegal?
It's not illegal.
So it's illegal?
Kinda is.
For somebody to harass you at work?
Yeah.
In what way, for example?
Tutaacha link hapo chini.
Tutaacha link hapo. Haina noma.
Because there's a study that someone was saying bullying is illegal, but harassment is not illegal. So
Okay.
I'll start by saying, one, bullying at work. I'll give a very interesting scenario.
Yeah.
When you're employed, you're picked as the best candidate.
Yeah.
Even that's how they send an email. Congratulations, Ben. You're the smart brains. We're glad to be part of this team.
They feel you're the best of the best.
We've never had such brains.
Who are the chosen one that was prophesied about.
One man.
Yeah.
Woo, imposter syndrome hits you.
Yeah.
You start feeling not good enough, but it's because of the culture. Maybe your manager looks down upon you every time.
Yeah.
Everything you do is wrong.
Yeah.
I remember there's a time I would type a document in Microsoft Word. And then someone says, the document is good, but haikai poa. Like, hujaipanga poa.
Yeah.
Hujatumia font poa. So you start questioning yourself.
Yeah.
You're good, but then by the time every day you start questioning who you are.
Yeah, if
you're not good enough.
You're okay.
Because you're made to feel like you're
and I can
enough.
give an example with that. There was a place I used to work, and it's not my previous workplace because everyone knows my previous workplace. It's not that. So before that, so the first time in the interview, mzee, mi sikuwa najua. Well, si ati sikuwa najua. It was my first time in a corporate setting, so I didn't even come with a laptop, So like I was just there kwa desk like a sub chief, like it only bakisha tunile the black stick that they use. And I remember at that time, because I'm still learning these whole things for Excel, PowerPoint, Word and all that. Those things are very important, by the way. And I remember at that time I used to be so shy even expressing my own ideas. Yet later on when I started sharing them, they became like they saw them as these brilliant ideas. But before that, because of the imposter syndrome or because of feeling like you don't belong into this space, that already makes you feel bad. So I relate to that MS Word story.
I think now when you move to that, you walk into an environment, maybe you're probably the best in your class.
Yeah.
But then you walk into an environment where you find people who have power, but they don't know what they're doing there.
Yeah.
But because they want to maintain the power dynamic at work, they bully you, to belittle you, and you start doubting yourself. But it's not even about you, it's about them.
It's an insecurity they have already.
It actually is.
They feel like you're a threat or something.
Yes, so mostly it's your manager, because that's the person you talk to a lot.
Yeah.
So because you trust them, and you're told that's the person you should go to when anything is wrong or when everything is okay, they start telling you, nasikia uko nje, like wewe uko some trouble. And there's no one talking about that. It's just them trying to project the insecurity. And they feel like because you're fresh from school, and you have the experience, and then you're a millennial, umechanuka, you can move things fast.
Definitely.
They feel like you can easily replace or take their place.
Yeah.
So they will make sure that you will always be under them. And it leads you to being pushed out.
Yeah. So let's now make this practical.
Yes.
Let's say somebody is already in this working environment where there's all this manner of stuff happening. There's nepotism. There's your manager harassing you. I'm basically talking about the government, but no, I'm not talking about the government today. They might just shut down this podcast. But so what should somebody do, for example, because, this is your bread and butter, you need to pay rent, you need to live life, you have no many options. Are you saying that, just toughen up every single day and go to work like that? Or is there a way to go around it? Is there a way that you can set your mind, maybe, I don't know. How do you go around this, especially if you have no option?
Mostly you have no option, especially when you look at the economy.
Yeah.
And they say go to work and look for another job.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've left a toxic workspace and found another toxic workspace. So sometimes you can't really escape that.
Yeah.
So what you can do is probably look for solutions.
Yeah.
Well-being solutions, like what toxic workspaces tries to advocate and provide.
Yeah.
Look for solutions that really fast link or like work with your personality, your budget, something that is okay with you and doesn't make you go an extra mile. Like one, you can take like self-care Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So that day you can take that time off to recharge your batteries and also take care of yourself. Probably think about. I advocate for people to reflect on their weeks a lot. Like reflect on what happened in your week, like in details. Like what did you like or not like about your
work. So that we're on the same page and understand what you're saying. You're saying that if you do not have an alternative, just go to that toxic workplace. If you do not, like if you're out of options and guys are depending on you, and this is Africa, black tax, your cousin in Kangema is, and your other uncle in Kangema, the other one in Moranga, the other one in Kisumu, they're all waiting for that salary at the end month. Yeah. So you find like the salary of one person is dependent on, there's so many guys who depend on it. So this person can't afford to just walk out of, that's not a luxury that they have. But you're saying one of the ways that they can mitigate it is you go to that space, but take time off, especially on weekends, to just take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think I should have started it by saying first acknowledge that you're in a toxic workspace.
Okay.
Because if you first acknowledge that, yes, I'm in a toxic workspace, I hate going to work, I hate my job, I hate how I feel at the end of every day. So if you tick such boxes, like how do you feel at the end of the day? Are you the people who come home and you're like, everybody just stay away from me? Yeah. So if you're that kind of person, can you find time alone to recharge? And also now identify who you really are? Because you can lose yourself in a toxic workspace.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. So like going back to the issue of body weight issues and all at work. Yeah. One thing I've seen is people project the insecurities to others. Oh, yeah. Sometimes you wonder, when you employed me, for example, you saw my size. So how is it now a problem?
All of a sudden it's a modeling agency now. So, maybe in finance or something.
Exactly. So sometimes I know people cannot be bold enough to call out their managers or their bosses, but I feel like people should know that it's okay
to call them out. But
am I allowed to say yes? This is a safe space.
But this is a safe space, definitely. But it was just a side. But there was a day I hosted somebody on the podcast, and they got so much heat at their workplace because they say they have another job that they do. Like, oh, so now I'm finding out about what you do on TV.
You're not productive enough.
So it was chaos. So you're saying, but if you start raising such issues, then now the manager starts, like singling you out.
No, like you don't really have to say, to call them out like publicly, or you can first acknowledge. I say keep a record. Yeah. I know it's wrong, but I keep a record of such things. Yeah. Because sometimes they're useful. Yeah. One, you can know how to not to be. And two, you, in case of anything, you have to work on some receipts.
Yeah, receipts. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, someone will come and gaslight you. Yeah. So you need to also prove like, hey. Yeah. But we had this conversation via email. I think also acknowledging that I need help. I need a forum. I need people who are going through this, who meet up probably for coffee and talk about things like this.
Is that such a group?
I do that, but well,
tell us more about it.
Well, so what happens is...
So it will be so funny if I see my team over there. I'm like, guy, like... So
it's called Escape Work. Yeah. It's called Escape Work Challenge. So Escape Work Challenge is where I provide the platform where you can come. We can sky gaze for like an hour. Just reflect on your week. So you've escaped work. Yeah. So you can come have coffee, discuss what are the common things at work that you've gone through the week. Yeah. Someone will say, my boss shouted at me in public. It made me feel bad.
Oh, that was another thing that kept recurring. Exactly. Bosses shouting to the people, especially restaurants. Please don't do that. If I'm a customer and I've just come to a restaurant and I see you shouting at let's say the waiter or the chef, it doesn't make me love you more. Like it actually makes me resent that whole space. Treat the waiters well and the chefs well. That really came up a lot, especially restaurants. Yeah.
Then also, I think another thing, we need to also accept that you don't have to react to every situation. Yeah. Because sometimes whatever happens at work is not about us. Yeah. Sometimes it's a boss having a bad day.
Oh, definitely.
And they just come and project. But because you're fragile, you're walking on eggshells, you feel the need to react. Probably, are you an enabler of toxicity at work? Are you the toxic employee? Yeah. And sometimes you don't know you're the enabler. Yeah. You make things hard for others because probably someone made it hard for you at some point.
So what would you what would you say to the enabler, to the, like, let's say if there's somebody watching this and maybe they are a manager, because this podcast has some very high people watching it. Not high people, high level people. High people means like they're all just high, but high level people. What would you say, like a manager who's out there and they know that they're toxic?
If you question yourself if you're toxic, then you are.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. So ungeniambia too direct on my face,
Yeah,
like surely,
pole.
like ungeniambia too, ungeni text too, ungeni text too. So I think managers need to understand that they have a bigger role, more than just making profits for the company. And that bigger role is you are in charge of people. That means you're in charge of lives. Somehow, you don't decide when they die or leave. No, that's what I'm saying. But there's a human being who depends on you. So if your mood is just trash or if you're a terrible person, you're transferring this to them. And then there's a probability they will transfer it to somebody else. So if you're a toxic manager, just know you're participating in making the world a bad place. Like you're a terrorist. Like you see the way terrorists are busy in Afghan just planning how they're going to mug somebody or attack a nation. You're just like another terrorist. You're making this world a bad place. So maybe if you're a leader or if you're in charge of a group of people, wherever you are, whatever size the team might be, you need to know that it's a bigger responsibility because these people have families. So you treat baba ya mtu with so much madarao, and in the evening they have to go spend time with their children. So they transfer that whole mess to everyone. So yeah, that's what I'd say to them.
I'm about to say something very controversial about managers.
Yeah.
So this is something I've come to accept. So when companies are recruiting for managers, they go for keywords. We're looking for a manager with a strong personality. Mm-hmm. If you look at someone who has a strong personality and you look at someone with narcissistic traits, I don't think there's a difference. So that said, those people who are managers, they continue to climb up the corporate ladder because first they're not emotional because they're narcissists, most of them. I didn't say all. So sometimes as a manager you think you have a strong personality, but now when you come to the psychological
you're
world,
just sick.
You're a narcissist. You like control. So sometimes I'd like to also understand, why are managers the way that they are? Why do they feel the need to show off their power? I'm in charge. You know, every time you walk in and you're like, that guy looks like a manager. It's because there's power dynamic. I believe a team, you don't need to know who's the boss. Because there's nothing like that's. It shouldn't be like that. But now if you walk into the workspaces, either their bosses make them be like that. They're demanded to be like that. Or they feel they need to be like that and they take advantage and roll with it. So as a manager, sometimes I wonder if they have different masks. When they're with other managers, when they're with their boss, when they go home, are they the same
or they're
person?
Just terrible.
Because everybody hates managers the same way we hate HR. You know?
Or fear them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice one. Another one that I wanted to talk about is the working hours. So there was a place I used to work, and time ya kwenda home ikifika mimi nilikuwa nachomoka hiyo. Yani hiyo 4:59 ilikuwa 5 4 3 5 like one, and nilikuwa kwa elevator. Used to look really awkward because I'd leave so many people at the office. But mimi nilikuwa na shughuli zingine, na plus like maybe you're just busy. And I feel like sometimes when you're that prompt with your, especially time yako ya kuleave, you kind of get sidelined or the side eye, or people start looking at you as this unserious person. First of all, how do you maneuver that? How do you maneuver the stigma that comes with you just don't work from 8 to 5. You have to keep grinding and you have to keep working hard, and you have to keep working hard all the way till you die.
Two things. One,
that's a bit
I advocate for another controversial thing about to be said. One, I advocate for 4-hour work week. Let's be honest. You can't be productive from 9 to 5. That's a lie. At least I can't. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can't be productive all that.
Try telling that the school principal maze. Unaanza siku 5 mtu wangu.
Makes sense.
5 tunamaliza 10. Tunamaliza 10. Yani sisi anything would just make us riot. Kumbe we were just stressed.
I think they're just traumatized. Exactly. So I think we're traumatized. And then now burnout has become the badge of honor.
Yeah.
Hustle culture, where everybody feels like they need to put in more hours to be seen.
Yeah.
You want to leave office the last person because you want to look like the hardworking employee. But it's because the work culture has made it look like, I wish everybody would work like Ben. He's always the first person here and the last person to leave.
Yeah.
So the work enables you to compete against your fellow colleagues, which is toxic. So like for me, I think 4 hours is enough in a day. The rest, I'm just wasting your time.
4 hours.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You can't be productive from 9 to 5. How? Let's just be practical.
It's just that there are some people who are writing to me that they start their work at 8, they finish at 10 p.m.
Okay.
I was terribly shocked.
Mentally, okay, physically, we leave work at 5. But emotionally and mentally, we leave work at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Hizo time zingine ni za ukiona mtu ameadjust laptop kiasi kuna venye hawezi ona Kenya nini anaona.
Kutu kwa emails.
Si ati yako kwa PowerPoint.
Kwa emails.
Ako kwa Netflix.
Well, some companies have now limited what you can do,
like
and they can access what you're seeing. So what you do, uko to, because now employers feel the need, they need to see value for their money.
Yeah.
So you have to be there from 9 to 5 so that you can, we pay you. Please,
we are paying you
have to fill in these hours.
They have to get you the maximum.
So for hours, I think now when it comes to flexibility, it's a red flag. So companies will say, you have to be flexible enough. I never knew what that meant. Flexible enough.
Work under pressure. Can you work under pressure?
Exactly. So flexible enough means, hey, Ben, by the way, I can call you anytime. You can write that proposal because you admitted to, I'm flexible.
Yeah.
Then do work under pressure means I will bully you. I will do everything because when what's pressure?
That pressure is making you become like a diamond.
There's nothing like
You're
good
becoming
pressure.
like a diamond,
So even then also the way we told that by the older people we meet at work, that for us we had to fight for our places at work. We had to key in many hours. We had to survive with 5K alone.
Like
and we had children in uni.
Like every time I'd get malaria, I just open up my body and remove those parasites by hand. Like these people, they just tell us stories that they're not necessarily true, In fact, that brings me to the other point for WhatsApp being made like it's an official communicating work platform. So when you join an organization, you're added to this work WhatsApp group and they're actually discussing work at around, let's say at 7 p.m. or at 8, sometimes even at 11 p.m. You're supposed to be chilling. And it's taken not so kindly when you try and leave these workspaces or when you try and just, make it clear that, by the way, I don't work like via WhatsApp or even briefs now are being sent via WhatsApp. What do you have to say about that? This whole story of WhatsApp and WhatsApp being like now an official, in quotes, an official communication.
Naona kama hii ni another, you're just making me drop controversies.
Drop them. What is? So only like, arrested once.
Ni sawa.
Yeah.
So like WhatsApp, I've always been against it. One of the people who, I think ukituma kitu kwa group, I'm like in 2 groups.
Yeah.
Ukituma kitu kwa group, I highly likely I will not see. Because
what about for guys who wenyewe wataulizwa kesho?
What I say, I don't know if not everyone can do this. Unaona ukiingia interview, when they ask you, do you have any other questions? Sometimes I'll ask, hey, am I allowed to opt out of WhatsApp groups or...
Oh, you can ask that.
Well, I think maybe I can now.
Or maybe you can do it indirectly, like tell them, hey, by the way, guys, just a disclaimer, man, I met with my doctor the other day in aliniambia, my body is only conditioned to deal with kabambe. Like I've tried buying an iPhone, I've tried buying a Samsung or Huawei or whatever. It's just not working for me. I only roll with kabambe. In fact, you make it very clear from the onset where sim to our internet.
I think I'm going to say this. You can risk and ask. Please risk and ask because when you ask, so does the work culture here allow me to opt out? Is there another communication platform other than WhatsApp? So there you will see if they respect, I don't know, it's really hard because not everybody is pro WhatsApp. And also, if you don't get to respond to WhatsApp when you needed to, What does that mean? I don't know. It's just crazy. I think we're moving into a world where we have normalized things that shouldn't be normal.
They should be normal. They're not good.
Like you'll be, I think next time we'll be fired via WhatsApp.
But isn't this? Oh, that happens. That happens a lot of times. Like we've even seen people being fired via Twitter. Like you've not seen that.
I still get your story.
That's chaos, eh? I don't want violence. But you can see we've normalized such things that you can fire somebody publicly on a space like Twitter, and you see this is the problem that we are facing. But do you think this also stems from like Gava, like the guys who are in charge of the working population, people who are in charge of workers? Like, it's more important for them for signage than policies. If you know, you know. Such that, for example, I was looking at a country like France, for example. They believe that they need to rest more. Like the French people believe their quality of life has to improve. So they don't believe in this overworking thing for you work 24/7. For them, and it's actually one of the countries where they pay, the labor is so expensive. Labor is so expensive. So the quality of time is much more improved. Do you think it's also like the government is also slacking on a policy perspective so that it starts valuing people's time such that tumefanyishwa kazi kutoka 8 until 5, and then when you still get home, they're still making you work more, and yet they're not paying you overtime? Do you think this then needs to start from a point of policy? Are the guys in charge of this asleep or busy at Dick Gardens? Sorry, yeah.
I think it's intentional to make things be the way they are.
Yeah.
Because if, let's just be honest,
yeah.
if you were paid per hour based on your expertise, can the company you work afford you? Highly likely not. So,
although that's how it should be.
Yeah, but they can't afford. Like if you look at salaries in Kenya, if you ask around how many people are paid what they're worth, I think we can count.
Yeah, very
Why?
few.
Why is it? Because sometimes companies give you a deal that you... First, let me say this. Interviews turn you into a beggar. You're the best, but you come and beg for a job.
Yeah. Because you're out of options, Jenny.
You get. And then they get you at your most fragile moment where they say, why do you really need this job? Questions that I don't like.
Yeah.
So they turn you into a beggar, which is really awkward because that's how they start messing with your emotions.
Yeah.
So you have to prove, you have to keep this job by doing this.
Yeah.
Salaries, you just take what is there.
You become a slave of the system.
So they tell you, at least we're paying you.
Yeah.
At least we're doing this. Salaries, it's a tricky one. I doubt we are close to being...
we are very far. Like we are...
Our policies...
I'd even say we are almost like a decade behind.
Even the guys who write our policies here surely
those are clowns.
Exactly.
And they're those ones, they do this because those ones are overpaid.
Of course.
Politicians will not be paid the much money that those guys are real clowns.
But it's a mind game. Like it's a control thing. Like power control. If I pay you, look at the people at work.
Yeah.
The CEO and the worker who actually works.
Oh, no.
Look at the pay.
There's a huge disparity.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know why things are like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think work is going to change for the better.
Yeah.
Look at why we Kenyans, or even Africans, we're struggling with remote work.
Yeah.
It's because employers feel there's no value for their money.
They need to see you.
They need to see you there.
Even if you're a graphic designer, like all you need is just your laptop. Bado CEO anataka ukam job, pepe kwa mgongo asikie, enyewe hapa ndio pesa yangu inaendanga.
But I don't know whether it comes from colonization.
It comes from colonization.
Because that's how slaves were treated.
Yes, it comes from
colonization. So it's modern day slavery.
Yeah, it comes from colonization. And it's a whole mindset that has to change from policy. Then now we put it in people. Because this topic for toxic workspaces is still very huge. We've not even tackled a lot of things. So if whatever you feel like we've not tackled, leave it on the comment section. Because even last week, we still had another conversation about guys being paid, creatives being paid by even religious organizations. It's a whole wide topic that needs to be dissected very well. Thank you so much, Shi, for coming. Time is really, really running out, Maze. I'm just seeing guys behind the scenes walking away via my t-shirts. About 45 minutes remaining. But maybe in closing, just to understand, let me repeat what you've said to see if I've understood you, so that guys can also understand this. If you're in a toxic workspace and you can't leave that space because you have responsibilities and you really need that money, and it's true. It's really, first you need to be aware that it's a toxic workspace, and that will help you block out some of the do I call it the nonsense, the toxicity, the insecurity that's being projected onto you. You need to know that you're still smart, you're important. Don't let that space change who you are. And then number 2, you've said that make it a habit to take time off, especially if you're not working. Stop thinking about work. Go have time with friends, time with family. Also use that time to reflect upon yourself. That's what you said as well. And then what's another thing? Am I missing out anything that can help people, that practical ways that can help guys, put all this into action in their toxic workspaces or in the various places that they're at?
Reach out. Reach out. If you need to join a forum or a group of people who are working through this toxic journey and work together, there are always people who are always willing to hold space for you too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have like a website or something that we can link on the description?
I think my website is currently down, but my social media handles are...
So which is your best social media? Do you put Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter?
Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, I think.
Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave those links on the description box below. You're going to send them to me.
Yes, I will.
And then, so if you feel like you're in this space and you need some form of help, or, and we know it's not your fault, by the way. It's definitely not your fault. It's just the way the system is set up. So guys can click into those links and then they can find a way to, reach out to you and all that stuff. Man, thank you so much, Shi. I think this is an important topic that was very necessary. We must have this conversation. And I hope it helps anyone out there or somebody out there who's going through a season of toxicity in their life. Please also don't forget that we've not been created by God to just come into this world and work and die. Like that's not the purpose of life. Purpose of life is to enjoy each day as a gift, to share the world with our gifts, and just to be happy as well. That's also one of the reasons why I've been created. So don't let work define who you are, and don't let work stress you to death. So thank you so much for coming, Shi. Where can guys follow you on Twitter?
Toxic Workspaces or at Shiko's.
At Shiko's.
Also, let me put you on the spotlight as we close.
Yeah.
Can you go offline for a whole weekend?
Oh man. Yeah, I can try go like no Instagram, no Twitter, no Facebook, no YouTube.
No devices, no digital
So I'm just
devices.
talking to people via smokes, messengers,
letters,
signals, fax, I think I need to challenge myself, a weekend detox. Yeah.
You should do that.
You can you do that yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. I try and shut off most of the times after the day. I try not to spend a lot of time just focusing on work-oriented things.
Okay.
So I like that evening is just my time to watch movies, to catch up with funny things.
So that's how you recharge.
That's how I recharge. I try and make my evenings very, very not work,
Okay.
Because of this work can kill you, I beg.
Well, if anyone needs help to how to unplug, you can
reach out to you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, reach out to Shiko, guys. And thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. For those guys, big shout out to everyone who's listening to our streaming platforms, our audio streaming platforms. If you've never streamed on audio platforms, I'm also going to leave a link in the description box below. And you can just follow that link to wherever it takes you. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Let me know if we left out something. Let me also know if you feel like there's something that we didn't address correctly. And then I don't think we might do a part 2, but what we can do is that we can go on Instagram live, or we can address this on Instagram as well. Sure. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting? I don't think there's anything else I've forgotten. Please, if you have a business, if you work for a corporate company, sasa juu tumeongea the toxic workplaces, msikose kutupatia kazi useme ndio wanachomeanga hao. No. Don't deny us business, I beg. If you want to advertise on this space, we've put the email on your screen right now, and just send us an email and then we'll get back to you and you'll see how best we can work together. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Have a blessed week and adios.